Hello, lovely friends and colleagues and Facebook people and friends on YouTube and everybody else that I know that may be listening in or tuning in. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a good day and hope that your Tuesday morning has brought you something special, a nice thought, a nice cup of tea, a warm hug, a gentle embrace, whatever that felt like for you, some special me time, just to give you a lovely morning of peace and joy. So wishing you a happy day to start. And there's lots going on in the world right now, as we know, lots of things that are not what we would like them to be, a lot of suffering going on in so many different areas. And it's hard to stay positive sometimes. It's hard to be at peace with what's going on, despite seeing all that suffering, because it affects us, especially if we are empathetic as we are to others, to their feelings. And yeah, it's hard to watch. So I'm just, I'm reaching out to say that, this, what I want to talk about today, which is this radical acceptance, doesn't mean that I want to say that everything is going on in the world is just okay and as it is and should be. But it is a part of that. It certainly is a part of that. So if you're feeling really strongly affected by what's going on in the world at the moment, I fully get that. I think to an extent, all of us are. The fears that come up, everything around that. But I think we can, perhaps this talk will help us on some level. It's aimed at us and our dogs, but I think it will certainly help on a bigger level as well, on a different level. So good morning to you all again. The oil of choice today is marjoram, sweet marjoram, and this is my favorite one for when things aren't feeling right for me, just to bring me back to the moment, to help me to balance, to help me to find contentment in the little things, to bring me comfort when I'm, not feeling my best, or feeling that I'm being flooded by emotions. Marjoram is a lovely one to help me. And compassion, unconditional compassion, I think is one of marjoram's beautiful qualities that it can bring. From a spiritual point of view, that's, obviously that beautiful place of a contentment, acceptance is really of just knowing who we are deep within, and remembering that. So marjoram is a lovely one to bring me back to that specific present moment. I'm just going to do a quick check-in to see that we're online, that everything's going hunky-dory. Let's just see if we're here, just in case somebody can't see me live. Okay. All right. Can't see any comments, so I'll just keep going and hopefully you can all hear me and see me. All right. So folks, today we're talking about radicalness. Well, we're not talking about radical at all. We're talking about, but I'm going to use the words because I think they're very powerful, which is radical acceptance, radical awareness, and radical change, radical healing. And I think they're all fit together pretty well. It's part of a process that we're all going through. So most of you here who follow me, who are in this group, know that we are here to support ourselves, to be our best version of ourselves, and to support our dogs to be the best version of themselves. And early on in the journey, we learn that trying to fix our dogs, which is a natural reaction. My dog has a behavior that feels uncomfortable. My dog is stressed. I'm stressed. I need to fix the situation. And that's where we generally start from. And then we realize over time that we need to shift from a fixing mindset into a supportive mindset. And I'll talk a little bit about this in a minute, but I first want to just say that that's where we begin. And we seem to come to a level of acceptance of, this is who my dog is. This is, my dog is sensitive, and I know that I need to support him. And we kind of feel comfortable in that groove for a while until something else happens, until our dog does something else, and we feel, again, we slip into those thoughts of, will this ever change? I just want this to go away. I can't live like this for the rest of my life. Is this always going to be this way? Or you feel judged by what somebody said about what your dog did, and you've taken it really personally, and you feel hurt, and you feel yeah, judged by others. That's a very uncomfortable feeling. Or you say, enough of this. I'm just wanted to change now. And you sort of put on your boxing gloves and you want to get in the boxing ring with this and say, right, now I'm going to find something else to make this, something needs to change here. And I need to take action in order for it to change. It comes up for us again and again and again. Anybody who lives with a sensitive dog, who has been through challenges with them, we know that we can support our dogs to a certain point, to live a holistic lifestyle, so that they feel balanced and connected and safe, and we're giving them the best base possible to nurture their resilience. But the next step is up to them. We know that change comes from the inside. It doesn't come from the outside. So the dog itself has to be ready for that change and has to be willing for that change process to happen. And so it can be like a wave, and it can be like a going up and down hills and valleys. We have real highs, and then we have real lows again. And then just as when we think we've got everything on track and everything's going great again, something else happens, or something else is thrown in the works, and we're thrown back into those old thought patterns of, is this ever going to change? Am I good enough? I'm not good enough. I'll never get, my dog won't be ever good enough. What happens when we get into that state, that sort of dip negative state, is when these thoughts are happening, and when we start, even if sometimes they're not even that conscious, sometimes they're not even in the front of our mind, but we find we're not sleeping well, or we find we're searching on the internet for something, for solutions or something. This is where the awareness comes in. What am I doing now? Why am I, looking for something new? Why am I looking for a new trainer or a coach or a whatever, or a new program to try? Why am I, feeling uncomfortable? Why am I not being able to sleep at the moment? Why am I irritable? Why am I more irritable with my dog, for instance, or people around me, or people that judge my dogs? These are all clues that something is going on underneath there. And, the Buddhists talk about suffering a lot. They talk about our emotions and our thoughts cause us to suffer. It's not about the suffering that external suffering. It's us. We are the ones feeling the emotions. We are the ones having the thoughts, and it's those thoughts and emotions that lead us to that discomfort, that real feeling of pain. Really, pain and suffering. It's ours. Okay, we are holding that inside us, and as the Buddhists believe, we can change that by changing our thoughts and changing our reaction to those thoughts and emotions. And I think this is what the underlying concept of radical acceptance is. So first, we're just aware that something's going on below the surface that's causing us to feel really uncomfortable. What could that be? Is it those old limiting beliefs that are coming up again about that we're not good enough, that things will never change? Are we feeling that victimhood? Are we feeling that we want things to be different, and it's not going to be like this? And again, putting on your boxing gloves. So what's going on underneath that all, that's brought up these feelings again of discomfort that are causing us the pain and discomfort. And remember that it's causing us the pain and comfort. I do believe our dogs are, if they are stressed for a very long time, and certainly if they're in pain, that this is a discomfort for them. But I don't think on an emotional level the same as us, because I don't believe that they ruminate like we do. I don't believe that they, go through all these thought processes that stick in their head again and again and again to the level that we do it. So I don't believe that they suffer like we do in that respect. I believe that they may have an emotional outburst, but they get over it pretty quickly once that cortisol in their system has sort of dropped, and we're able to support them back to balance. I think they can, they pretty much drop that and let it go a lot easier, certainly, than we do. So this idea of radical acceptance, let's just come back to that. That radical acceptance is, it doesn't mean we're surrendering. So saying, I totally accept my dog for who they are, with all their little quirks and issues and whatever. I unconditionally love my dog. He's fine. He's perfect just the way he is. We can say that, and we can pretty much believe it to a certain level. But again, it comes to this radical level of seeing that being as perfect, seeing that dog in front of you as perfect just the way they are. Not, okay, we accept their quirks, we accept their problems, we accept, because we're then saying that they have all this junk. Okay, they are all this junk. But radical acceptance goes another layer deeper than that. It's saying, I see this being as perfect just the way they are. And it's a tough one, because I know I've thought about this over the years, and I've thought, well, I can't really say that. It's not perfectly, it's perfectly imperfect. So it's arguing with myself about this, perfection. And we know that nothing is perfect as it is, but seeing below the surface, seeing from the bigger picture, seeing from who you are and who your dog is inside, that spiritual being inside, that perfect light inside. That's where the perfectness comes from, inside that, not this external being that has been, is a product of everything that's happened to us or our dogs in our lives. And even before that, if you look at things like genetic predisposition and epigenetics and all the little things that could have happened to your pup before he even came to you to live with you. There's so many things, so many variables that can cause the dog to be who they are and result in them being the way they perceive the world. That it's crazy for us to think that we should ever try and make anything different of that. It is just who they are, and it is just how they've come to be in this world, and this is our journey together. So for me, the perfect acceptance then comes in and saying, recognizing that these thoughts have come up, these expectations have come up, these judgments have come up. I hear them, I see them, and I see the discomfort it's bringing me. And I'd like to change that. So again, it comes back to me. To me, I'm the one who's feeling uncomfortable about it. I'm the one who's wanting the change. I'm the one who's wanting things different. So let me look at that. Let me look at that discomfort. Let me look at that, those feelings, see what comes up. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, unconditional acceptance is not surrender and saying, well, that's it. That's the way it is. Just get on with it. Get over yourself and move on. Because that's almost like that's running away. That's putting your head in the sand and saying, well, there's nothing I can do about it. So that's just it. It's going to come back. If that's how we, try to distract ourselves from it, or just say, well, that's the way it is. Get over it. We may get over it in the moment or for a while, but it will come up again. It will resurface, because those emotions need to be felt. They're very real emotions that come with those thoughts that you had. And I think this is where that acceptance and that peace comes from, is sitting with that, being allowing those emotions to come up and saying, that makes me feel really uncomfortable. That thought of our future together, I can feel my heart racing, and I can feel it makes me feel scared and fearful of the future. And allow that to come up, allow those feelings, recognize them, and then say, but right now, in this exact present moment, I'm safe, my dog is safe, we're safe, everything's okay, right now, as it is. And it's from this beautiful, perfect moment of now and acceptance now that we can move into a space of where things can be different, where we don't have to have those feelings of struggle and discomfort. And it's from that place of peace, that place of inner peace, that we can get to, which is this radical acceptance, will lead us eventually to this inner peace, that we can be grateful and happy and content with exactly what is, knowing that there's always change, that there's always ebb and flow, that nothing is static, nothing ever stays the same. And just accepting that alone can help us to move through the day without those discomfort feelings. And if we keep coming back to that place of acceptance, we can remind ourselves over and over again that anything is possible, but we just need to be content with what is right now. And there's let me just see, I wrote it down here. Carl Rogers, a psychologist, he said once, it wasn't until I accepted myself just as I was that I felt free to change. So just think about that. It wasn't until I accepted myself completely was I free to change. And I think that is basically what lies at the bottom of it, because radical change is possible. But when we are fighting for it, or we are reaching for it, or we are striving for it, or we wanted to make it happen as quickly as possible, that's when we put up that resistance. That's when we're working against it. We are working against the laws of nature. We are working against the universe when we try and strive and struggle and make something happen the way we want it to happen. But instead, if we can be totally open, know where these feelings are coming from, understand them, be aware of ourselves, be aware of our emotions, and then feel them, come to that place of unconditional love, empathy, contentment, peace, even if it's just for a few seconds in the moment. That's where it begins. Just right now, that's where it begins. And then from there, we can start to expand that one day at a time. And it's through that contentment that will allow us, that beautiful place of acceptance and understanding starts to open room for change. We take off the pressure off ourselves, we take pressure off our dogs, we put away all those expectations, and we just be in full acceptance of what we have right now. And it's a beautiful place to be. And remember, it's not a place of saying, oh, well, it's not a surrender. It's embracing. It's embracing exactly what you have right now and going with that. So this has been pretty deep, people. It's been coming for a long time. I think the more I try to live this, the more I try to practice my self-care and to follow my personal growth journey, the more I see my own discomfort of everyday life with sensitive dogs. I start to see that it becomes a lot easier, that I start to be in a place of acceptance. I don't feel those judgments anymore. I don't feel overwhelmed with the big emotions when my dog has a barky moment, or or an over aroused moment. I don't feel that that discomfort myself anymore. And I see the changes in my dogs too. I see the changes in my life. I see the changes in my dogs, and they will never be. Charlie will never be a Labrador that lies around and sleeps all day. He isn't that. And the more I can see those beautiful qualities of who he is and what he is at the core of his being, the more beautiful I see him as, and the more I embrace every single thing about him. So, ladies, gentlemen, if anyone are listening, that was my message on radical awareness, radical acceptance, and radical change. And I would love to hear your comments and thoughts around that. And I wish you all a wonderful day. And I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. And for those of you who don't know, who haven't heard yet, I am starting my Calm Connection workshop on Thursday this week. That's the 3rd of March. And it's all about awareness of, here we go, awareness. It's all about, it's directed mainly at us. There will be exercises that we can do with our dogs as well, certainly, but it's aimed mainly at us, of how to come to those places. So it's tools and techniques, things that I've learned, things that I've put into practice that can really help me to feel more grounded, calm, and present in the moment, so that I can be aware and I can feel these emotions. I know how to work through these emotions. I can come to that place of peace again and again and again, and remind myself of the bigger picture and what's really important. So if you want to join me, send me a message if you don't know the details yet. Otherwise, you would have got them on an email if you're on my mailing list, or you could find them in the Facebook group. And I look forward to seeing, I think there's about close to 20 of us in the group so far. So it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be very interactive, the workshop. And I hope to see you there. So lovely people, thanks again for listening. And we will see you again next week. Have a wonderful day.